This video is powered by the Convention Review's Twitter. You can find a link in the description. Go follow it to stay up to date with everything Convention Reviews. Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to Convention Storytime. I'm pretty excited because I finally get to talk about a story that I've been wanting to talk about for a while and had been holding back because I'm just going down a list, and this was the second one on the list. I don't even remember what anime crap. That's the last story time I talked about. So this one's kind of interesting, and I want to start off, I cannot speak today, by just saying that if the guy, I'm going to actually talk about a specific person who happens to be in this community and in the fandom of anime conventions. So if you happen to listen to this video, just know that I'm not trying to attack you or bash you. Just please listen to what I'm saying, and hopefully it'll get through to you, because it's something you need to hear, and it's something that is definitely interesting and definitely needs to be talked about. So basically, here's what happened. Set the scene. We're at Anime Milwaukee, 2015, which a lot of my few story times that are coming up are from there. There's a few from Crossroads, but this one's still at Anime Milwaukee. And we're in line for registration. We'd been over at the mall. This is Thursday. We came back, and we were just going to get our badges a day early. And registration was bad enough as it was. That's a whole nother story time that I think I have written down that I need to talk about, because that was just a hassle. And so we finally find our line that we need to be in, which took us a while. And we're standing there in line, and my girlfriend, who goes by Stella, was in line with me, along with my friend Drew, Nate, and Dakota. So it's all of us in line together to get our badge. And Stella starts talking to this guy, or he started talking to her, this random dude who, he had like an orange jacket on. I don't really remember exactly what he looked like, but dark hair, I think, was talking to her, and he starts off the conversation by saying, and guys, this is why would you say something like this to somebody? I never understood people who say things like this. But he starts off the conversation by saying, what kind of Asian are you? So she's Korean, and she goes ahead and tells him, I come from Korea, I was born there but moved here at a young age, and, just trying to, already she's done with this guy, because that's just not a way to start a conversation. Don't ask an Asian person, like I said, I can't talk today, what type of Asian they are. That's just wrong. I don't go up to you and say, hey, what kind of white are you? But anyway, so I didn't even realize this was happening at first. She told me about this later. I was busy talking to Drew or Dakota or something, and because you don't expect anything to be happening. We've been standing in line for like an hour. It's ridiculous, and we were only 15 people back. Like I said, that's another thing to talk about. But so this guy, he starts getting closer, and he's just kind of creepy, and he starts telling her how he loves Asian culture and how he loves Korean girls, and then how he loves Japanese girls, and just keeps going on and on about it. And then he asks Stella for a hug. And this is where I finally see the guy. And I turn around and I see him go to hug her, but he does the weirdest hug I've ever seen. He, puts his arms up, it's really hard to explain. It's just going to sound like a normal hug if I explain it. He puts his arms, under her armpits and up around her shoulders, kind of, in, this really weird hug. And then he, he comes up, he bent down and came up and did this. And then, rubs his face on her face. And he says, your cheek is warm. And she just met this dude. And so that's when I'm like, hey, hold up. And I came up and said, I was like, hey, back off, stop. What are you doing? And so he backed off, and he was like, oh, sorry, man. Stella later told me that she didn't even hear me say that. But she was probably just so taken aback with what was happening. But I definitely did, and he definitely backed off a little bit. But not enough, because then he kept talking, and he was just acting like a nice guy. He was talking to me, and he was talking to the rest of us. We thought maybe he was just being a little creepy for a second, and it doesn't really mean anything. And then he started grabbing her hair and, rubbing her hair. And he was like, your hair's so nice. And I knocked his hand away, and I was like, dude, stop. Why are you're touching my girlfriend's hair. You need to cut it out. And he was like, oh, I'm so sorry, man. And then he tried to cover it up. He was like, no, I touch all the hair. I love everybody's hair. And he started touching Dakota's hair. Like, Dakota was like, okay, touch my hair. And so he did, and it was weird. But then he was like, no, I really only I like to touch Asian girls' hair, and it's really nice. Like, they have nice hair. And we were just, like, freaked out by this dude. Okay, so this guy was in front of us, and eventually he finally goes and gets his badge, because they actually got things working. We were like, thank God. And then Stella's next. She gets her badge, and she said that she's going to go sit down because it was really cold over there. So she goes to walk away and then comes back because that guy was just standing around that area just waiting, which is really creepy. So we waited till I got my badge, and then we walked and left from there, and it was already a creepy story, and that was already going to get told, but it gets even worse. So the next day, this guy, and this is how you're going to know it's you, if it's you listening to this, or if you guys saw him, if you were at Anime Milwaukee, you may know exactly who I was talking about. He was cosplaying Pinocchio, and he's running around the con, and he's all over the place. We see him all the time, and Stella is honestly scared. She doesn't want to talk to this guy. She's freaked out by him, and I don't blame her. So we go to the maid cafe, and guess who's there? This guy cosplaying Pinocchio. Now, he doesn't do anything to us other than say hello and what's up, and then we kind of just walk away because we don't want to talk to him. But we watched him, and we noticed he was doing literally the exact same thing that he did to Stella the night before to the maids. Going up, we heard him straight up ask another one what type of Asian they are. And then they said Japanese, so where with Stella he was saying, oh, I love the Korean culture. He was saying, oh, I love the Japanese culture. It's the best type of Asian. Like, doing all the same sort of things that he said. And just being overall really creepy. And sort of, you could tell he was freaking the girls out because when he walked away, they were whispering, like, what's going on? What's wrong with this guy? Like, it's so creepy. And then later throughout the weekend, we ended up talking to some other girls who had some encounters with him, and they all said the same thing, that this guy creeped him out, freaked him out, and we didn't even see him talk to them. So my assumption and our assumption is that he was walking around the entire weekend doing this to all kinds of different girls, trying, I guess, to get one of them to like him. I don't really know what the goal was. Basically, if you're listening to this, Pinocchio guy, I just want you to know, I'm not trying to bash you or attack you. I need you to know that you're creeping people out, and you need to stop. And other people who do this type of thing, because he's not the only one that does this type of thing. Guys who go to cons and creep on girls, yes, it is possible to get a girlfriend at a con. But the way you're doing it, forcing yourself upon them, grabbing their hair, touching their cheek, there's no consent there. Cosplay is not consent. You can't just touch people. And you can't... Doing it like this is not going to work. There's a better way. Just get to know people. Sit down and talk to people and actually act like a normal human being. But that's all I got to say on it. Hopefully I don't have to see this guy much more. He actually freaked us out so bad that we really thought about trying to get him banned from the convention for next year. I can't explain how bad it was. I can just explain what happened. I can't explain the way he came off and the way he was making people feel. It was really creepy and it was really freaky. And maybe he's a nice guy. I don't know. But in this situation, he definitely wasn't. And it was really creepy. So guys, my question to you. Has anything like this ever happened to you or to someone you know at a con? Or maybe have you ever tried to talk to somebody at a con and just because you were shy or something came off like this without meaning to? Though I will say this guy was definitely not shy. That's not what happened. He was doing this intentionally. There was no shyness in him at all. Very open. But has this ever happened to you? Has someone come up to you and, I don't know, tried to hit on you but in like a really, really creepy way that sort of freaked you out? Sure, there's a lot of creepy people at cons, but together, hopefully we can try and lessen this and make people know to watch out for these kind of things because this is a real problem. And people do still seem to think that cosplay is consent, and it's not. You cannot just touch somebody because they're in a cosplay or because you think they look good. That's not okay. If you wouldn't do it in your day-to-day normal life, don't do it at a con. Thank you guys so much for listening. If the Pinocchio guy was listening, I'm sorry, but that's the truth. And I'll be back on Friday with another convention story time. See you guys around.